Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to talk about are watches that collectors initiated. These aren't ones that collectors actually built themselves, but rather they contracted with an established watch company or watchmaker or movement maker, and then they had the watches put together for them. Now, the first one, this is from 2017. There was one that was called the Squale TGV Lion Shark 1521 limited edition. Essentially, what this one was is a Squall 1521, and it had a little logo with a lion shark on it. It had a red rotating bezel, and this was done by a guy named Tristano Jeffrey Veneto. He's better known as TGV, or the Urban Gentry. And so this was not one that the group did together so much as Tristano did with Squally, because of he was very well known, and this was good for the watch company. Now, this is one of the things I think that I want to emphasize. I don't think any of these that we're going to talk about today are just good for the collectors, because I do think they're good. They're good things for the collectors, because the collectors can say, "Hey, we want this one." This lion shark sold out very quickly, by the way, so it was good for Squale's watch company. Okay, so that sort of was, well, yeah, but not exactly, but at least it's sort of a starting point. Now, more recently, there's been some businesses, this is in Switzerland, that have been set up to help groups or individuals, actually, or either one, to make their own watches. In other words, you can go to, this one is called Develop Your Watch, and you can contact them. Down at the bottom there's a URL to contact them, and you tell them the movement you want and all of these different parts you're going to need. You're going to need the movement, the dial, the hands, the casing, the bands, the buckles, everything, and they'll work with you to put something together. So this is another option that groups are beginning to discover, because there are a lot of things that you may not have planned for. For example, assembling a movement. Well, most movement companies will do that. One that they've been recommended by is Chrono, the Chrono movements, which is it's owned by Moser, who's one of the top watchmakers in the world, period. Okay, I think it was Jean-Paul or Jean-Pierre Moser. Anyway, this I call assisted group watchmaking. So this is not just a group going to a specific watchmaker, but one that can say, "Hey, well, we can work with you depending on what movement you want to get, and then we'll help you put it together." So this is one. There are some examples of watch styles from this company. Now, related or not related, but something like that, it's been around for a while, is Vaucher manufacturer Fluier. Now, this is Vaucher makes really high quality movements. So does Chrono, by the way. And what they have, if you go there, they'll make one. They have sort of these special deals that they have for creating a movement for you, and then you can go ahead and have the case made either by Vaucher or somebody else, the case and the dial and so forth. My advice, if you're interested in something like this, get together. I think they have a minimum of 25 movements. You if you buy 25 movements, then they'll sell them to you. You can't buy them one at a time. And they will do some different kinds of things for you. For example, on the lower right there, you can see on the mini rotor, there was WAS, Watch Art Sci. Anyhow, I just photoshopped that on there, but that'll give you an idea. But this is this is how they come. You get a little thing with I mean, if you're just getting the movement, but you can get the movement, the case, and some other things they'll put together for you on that one. But this is based on 25 movements. And there are a lot of watches that are very, very, very strong. By the way, too, Vaucher is owned by the Sandoz Family Foundation. Sandoz Family Foundation owns Parmigiani, and all the Parmigiani movements are made by Vaucher. So you can really get high horology stuff from these guys. And there's all kinds of different levels of different kinds of movements. They have a real big variety of movements, and so different kinds of functions on them. So it's something that if you want to get a really good watch, I think the movements right now are probably between about $1,000 and $2,000 each. But you go out and you buy a watch with one of these movements in it, and you're going to be paying $25,000. So this might be something that you might want to think of as a group. Now, there's a group called Collective. Their URL is their website is at collectivehorology.com. Now these guys they're sort of an established group that you have to apply to join and so on and so forth. And what they will do different watches working with watch companies. They've also started there's certain independents that they've sort of taken under their wing, so to speak, to help them market theirs. And I'll talk about that in a second. Here are 3 watches from the Collective. The IWC is a chronograph 7150. JN Shapiro is 21,500. Josh Shapiro has mastered the Rose engine for Guy Locher. And on this particular one, what he did, he put it on a meteorite, a little slice of a meteorite with a dial and then the hands. He does the dial and the hands and so forth. But then, I don't know, I'm not sure where they source the cases from. The movement on it is a very good movement. UWD, I think it's 33.1, which is by Marco Lang. Marco Lang did that one some years ago. So it's really very good. Another one, Space Age Complications, UREC, 62,500. Now some of these are very, very expensive. Now, on the other hand, they sort of took fears under their wing, and this is a non-collaborative. These other watches are collaborative, and by collaborative, they get together with a watch company and do make something special. This Brunswick Champagne Fears watch, $3,500. So it's sort of like I guess a micro company or whatever they're called. But to give you a better idea of what the Collective can do, here's a wonderful watch they did with H. Moser. Now, H. Moser has lots of wonderful watches. I happen to like them. And there are 2 different watches. One is the Streamliner, and the other one is a Pioneer. And so what they did, they took certain features from both of them. They took sort of the dial and the hands from the Streamliner, and then they took the case and the I guess the move. They both use the same move, HMC 200. It's an automatic movement with center seconds on this particular one. And this one's called the C.02. I think was Collective's second one or something like that. I'm not positive. But the Collective creates collaborative watches with their community. So if you're interested in their watches, you can join the Collective, and I guess you can get some kind of deal on it. This one I really like. It has a rotating bezel, and so you have part Pioneer, part Streamliner, and then a rotating bezel that neither one of them has. So a very sports watch from the collective. They also have something that's called the Portfolio Series. I showed you the Fears before. That's one of the watches, one of the watch companies that they have. Now, another one like this is called Chrono Temps VS Collectors. Down at the bottom, you can see there, if you want to find out more about them, the Chrono Temps VS Collectors.com. Now, they have connections with a huge number of watch companies. We'll see that in a second. But here are three. There's something called the Zeitwinkel 126 degrees. This is one of their ones that they did collaboratively with Zeitwinkel, 9,600 euros. Another one by Corsair by Angelo Del Mare. This is a little independent company, 2,350 euros for that. And then one by Lane called Silver Spur by Lane for 9,600. Now, the thing about the Chrono Temps this collectors is this huge number of watch companies that they have some kind of connection with. I'm not sure what they all are. Some of them I do know that they've made watches with, like the Zeitwinkel. But other ones, like the one they have I'm showing there, is called the 00 Red by Ball. Now, Ball's not on their list, but it's one that they're doing something with. This one's 2,200 euro. So this is something that, and again, when you have a number of people getting a watch, you can make some good buys, some good deals with watch companies. It's good for them because if you have like 100 people or 50 people buying the same watch, that's 100 people, and that you don't have to deal with the marketing part. They're already bought your watch, so it can be a very good relationship for everybody. Now, this last one, the Reek, this is a new one and one that I am involved with. And what they did is something that is different from the other ones. They went directly to one of the best known movement makers, Agah, and they talked with them. They said, "This is what we want. We want a really basic, excellent watch, and we would like an Agah base." There was some discussions we had at another time a few years ago, and there was a choice of having a washer base or having an ETA base to a movement, but we didn't particularly want that, and so another one was an Agah base, and it was a lot more expensive. So what we decided on this one, that we would like to start with a base and then work it into a new movement, and that's exactly what they did for us. It's called the AGH 6801. Now, this was a group. This was different. The two collectives that I just talked about, both I think were some people who lived in the same part. I think it was Northern California. I could be wrong about that. And by the way, too, if any of these things I've mentioned, I don't have it quite right, please let me know. This one I really know pretty well. Say there were 51 watch collectors from 14 countries. We didn't know each other. I mean, we never met. There were 13 of us who had passed a watch around the year before. We had a watch from Rolf Lang, and so he lent us a watch. He wanted to get it a little known better, so we said, well, we'll each take it for a month and pass it around. We did that, and he sold it. And so we sent it back to him, and so he could get it ready for sale. It was really funny. But what that showed us is that we could coordinate, and we had that thing sent all over the United States, from all the way from Connecticut to California to Washington to everywhere in between. So this was one of the things. I mean, we didn't. There weren't much of it. There certainly weren't 50 of us, and not all of the 13 people involved got together with us on this. But it's sort of like, well, let's see what we need. We knew what we needed. We needed a movement. We needed a case. We needed hands. We needed a dial, and so forth. And so, and to do it, we thought, well, let's just go to the very best and have them do it. And that was what we did. This is what we ended up with. We had seen the Philippe Dufour's Simplicity 37. 37 was the one that was 37 millimeters. And we really liked that dial. And it had this company named Metalem. And I'd read something about it that Dufour said, well, I didn't do the dial, so Metalem can keep their name on it. So that's neat. So we went to Metalem and we asked them about a dial for us. And then we said, well, could you make the hands? And they said, no, we don't do the hands. So there was this incredible hand making company that most people don't know about. Watchmakers do, and it's called Fiedler. And Fiedler there's a lot of gentlemen's agreements about keeping mum. I mean, a lot of watch companies say, well, we make everything. Well, maybe not. But we found out the ones that make the best ones, and this was, Fiedler has a reputation of making these really extraordinarily hands. We wanted the observatory style hands, sort of like Derek Pratt's things that he did for Urban Jurgensen. And so they made exactly what we wanted. We also wanted a wine colored, which was a little unusual. They did that for us too. The other thing that I think was probably one of the most important things, beside the working with Agah for the movement, was they introduced us to all of the best. All right. One of them was a designer named Mathieu Allegri. His designs were incredible. He did a design for us the way we wanted it. Well, he actually did more than that. That was the other thing about this watch. Everything not only was done, but it was done better than we expected. I mean, these were dealing with your really top-notch people. You get top-notch work. Now, we were able to keep it it was around, I think, the price that we had was going to be $7,500 for subscribers, which was the 50 of us, and then it was going to be $9,500 for the anybody who wasn't a subscriber who wanted one, and that's what we did. The couple things we weren't expecting to buy a strap or a buckle or a case. We ended up getting all of them, and so there was cost us a little more than we expected. Agah then added a few great things for us. This special regulator called an Agah pit. They added this special gearing on there called Agahnaise, which has got these little springs between the teeth so that you don't have any slippage. Incredible. So that's another thing you can do. Basically, you can get together with a group and go to town, just get exactly everything we want. We decided to enter it into the Grand Prix. We'll see what happens. So anyway, so that's sort of some different things that can be done, ranging from simply having your name put on a watch to from scratch creating a watch out of nothing. This is for collectors. These are guys, and I think everybody in our group, the Larite group, we just love horology. So anyway, let me know what you think. Would really like to hear from you. Any ideas? And if I got any of these, made any mistakes on what exactly went into some of these things, let me know. You also too check them out yourself. Take care. Uh, Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the Art and Science of Watch Collection. It's an opportunity to subscribe if you like to.